Hello again, my friends. I'm going to be doing a little portrait painting here today of one of my favorite ASM artists, and Goodnight Moon. From her Babblebrook series, it'll be a portrait of Miss Maybell in her creature menagerie. You might be able to tell from the uneven black tones that I had started this piece, but I had a camera malfunction. So I just went ahead and painted back over what I had colored in, and I figured I would start over. I've already put a misting of water onto the canvas here, except for that corner I feel like it's kind of dry, so we're going to retouch that. Light misting over our colors on the canvas here are black, titanium white, milky white, brilliant red, crimson, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, and phthalo green. And we're just going to do a light misting of our mixing area there as well. Keep the paints from drying out. Acrylic, which is what I'm using, dries out rather quickly. That water over the paint keeps the moisture from wicking out as quick, so they stay workable. And the water in the mixing area, especially when I flatten the paint when I'm mixing it, keeps it from drying out as quickly. Spraying just a little bit of water on your canvas, let that paint glide in the background. Now, it won't work with oil unless you're using water mixable oils, but it'll work with any water-based paint, acrylic or watercolor, gouache, however it's pronounced. I believe it's gouache. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started painting in that background. Got a 1-inch brush here. I'm going to take some of that yellow ochre, just a touch, just dip in the corner of the brush, and that burnt sienna, maybe a little more. There we go. And we're going to start up here in the corner, or in her shop. She has a sign. And again, right now we're just kind of blocking in color so it can be a little uneven. Can add in more detail as we need later. Don't worry about coloring over the lines as long as you don't go too hard. Just trying to flatten that paint out right now. Get rid of texture. Right. And that color's a little pale for my liking, so I'm going to go ahead, take more of that burnt sienna, get almost a copper color. Yeah, I like that a little better. And it'll blend into that yellow too if you feel it's a little too vibrant, since it's still pretty damp. Along the bottom there, get a nice even line. Okay. You can go ahead and clean that brush. Get a smaller one here. 1/2 inch. Actually, let's go for, I think this one is about 3/4 of an inch. And we're gonna just take pretty much some straight sienna. I think I might mix in a touch of that phthalo green to dull it a little. Ooh, way too much green. That green is strong, so we'll just go right back into that one. Kind of want a dull brown color here. Could have used a little bit of black too. Might have worked better. I don't know if the pigment is quite as strong as that phthalo. And this is a wooden sign, so we just want to put in a few indications. We need to darken that. I'll pull a little black from that corner. There we go. Said it's a wooden sign, so we just want to put in a few little indications here and there of some wood grain. Try to keep it soft and out of focus a little bit. It's in the background. And the screen grab I'm using, it's out of focus, so I want it to look like it's not completely in focus in my painting as well. I'll take a little, and mix some burnt sienna, some crimson, and a little bit of that black. And we'll put a little touch of phthalo in there too. A lot of times when you mix red and green, you can get a nice brown color. And you can control the temperature, meaning if it's a warm color or a cool color, you can control your temperature based on how much red and how much green you have in there. I want to get a little more of that up here in the corner. There we go. This is a candlelit scene, so I want that color to be warm. Warm that up just a little. And if you get streaks and whatnot, just clean your brush off and go back in and pull across. As you can see in there now, I got like some wooden colors, but it's not even. It varies a little bit in tone. A little on the red side, a little on the brown side, a little on the yellow side, and that is exactly what I wanted. So, I kind of finished painting in that corner there. I'm going to use the same color. I might add a little more yellow ochre to it. I don't want to use a bright color, because like I said, it is a candlelit scene, so there really shouldn't be any bright colors in it. Right about here, I believe. There's a little table in the scene. Pull that color flat. When you pull that brush across, it does a couple of things. It'll A, get rid of texture in your paint, and B, get a nice smoother blend like you want. Now these table legs are darker on the bottom. Go into that dark mix with a little more black. Kind of pull up to blend them out with that. Some shade to it. And then we'll go with just some straight black here and kind of do the same thing right here. And I'm going to take a little ochre by itself on there. Add a few streaks of wood color, and then again go back in there with that brush, flatten it out. And then in the background we have another table, but it's further out of the light. Take that ochre again, mix in some of that black color to get it good and dark. A little more black, I think. And if you find it's getting dulled down a little too much, put a little crimson in there just to give it a little more. Crimson and black makes kind of a cool brown color when they're mixed together. And that's even that's a little too bright, so let's take some more black into that. There we go. Okay, well, I'm going to brighten that up a little bit with a touch of touch of that burnt sienna. Just add a few little warmer areas, catching just a little more light. And again, go in and blend it out. Now we do have a book on top of this table that I want to paint in. For that, I'm just going to take scarlet, teeny touch of sienna, and some of that black mix again. And it's kind of hanging off the edge here. This Maybell doesn't keep a very clean shop from the looks of it. Now I'm going to take that yellow ochre and a touch of the milky white. And a little tiny touch of my umber. Maybe a little more. When I say a touch, I mean I'm just dipping the corner of the brush into my paint pile. Just right here, we have a few pages sticking up from that book hitting the candlelight. And just take a little scarlet, a little touch of white. We can add in some. Let's go ahead and pull that brush nice and flat. And a few little highlights areas where the light is catching that book. Then go into our shadow color. And darken it. In fact, I think for that shadow I'm going to go with pretty much all black. Remember to pull your brush flat. And then I'll pull that shadow a little more since it would cast a shadow on the table. And then I'm going to get a liner. That shadow color, I just want to put shape. I want to shape that a little bit. And just saying, there's maybe a label on the book. Take that liner again with some of that highlight color for the drawer back here. Smush that in as well. And take a clean and dry brush. And again, kind of pull it flat. Next thing we're going to add here, and take some sienna, crimson, mix it in with that black. I'm like 3/8" brush I've been using. And there's a little flask in the corner here. Well, maybe it's not a flask so much as a big old bottle. And whatever fluid is in there is a pretty deep red crimson color. So that's the base of our bottle. And we can come into that black. Up in the empty part of the bottle, let's leave a little bit of that crimson highlight on the outside and the edge, but we'll paint it an empty area with black. And take some crimson again there. A little bit brighter than that. First, I'm just going to put a little paint there. And we're going to clean our brush. Blend that into the first layer. And I might even take just a teeny bit of brilliant red there for the middle. A little more color highlight in there, blend the edges out. And I'm just gonna dip the corner of my brush in some of that yellow ochre. Get it right in the middle of the bottle there, put a spot. And basically, the point of that is a little highlight on the glass from the candles we're gonna have in here eventually. And then again, blend it out because it's in the background, so we want it to. And we want it to be out of focus. And kind of do the same thing up here for the cork. A little touch of paint. Clean the brush. Blend it out. That's a little too bright, so I'm going to put mix a little ochre there. And pull some of that paint off. I get a general cork shape there. I think I might put a little more. There we go. And right in front of that bottle, a bottle with a greenish tint. So I'm going to take that phthalo and mix a little bit of that yellow oxide in there, yellow ochre. That phthalo green has a bluish tint, so the more yellow ochre you mix into it, the more you pull it away from the blue. Way too bright. And it's one of the things that's difficult about working with a white or a gray palette paper and a black canvas is it doesn't look as bright when it's darker than your palette paper. And then when you put it on the black canvas that it's lighter than, it really pops. That's just kind of the way our eyes see things, so it's just a little something to look out for. And we're going to darken that again. Along the edge here. And then kind of pull that shadow again, blend it, get it smooth. Shouldn't be very sharp, since again this object that we're painting right now is in the background. And then we can put a little highlight on there. We'll go into that bright green. A little bit down on the bottom here too. All right, below our shoulder. Mix a little ochre into it to yellow it up. Brighter there in the middle, right there. And clean your brush. Same as before. Blend it out some. And I'm going to take, I should have a smaller brush here. Okay, so we're going to take ochre, a little sienna, a little more. There we go. Paint in the cork again. And again, that's, it's too sharp. So we'll go in here and kind of blend it out as well as lift some of that paint off to darken it. Okay. That table, now it's dry, isn't standing out too much, so I'm mixing a little color to add a little highlight to it. That yellow ochre with just a touch of black. Just very gently again, just kind of suggest the shape of it there. And then we can take our little number 0 brush. Put in the indications on cabinet there. And bring that line right down there. And again, very gently go in and soften that out. Maybe it has some bottles or potions or whatever you want to call it sitting on top of that. Kind of get an orange color over here, dull with the black, of course. This one's even further in the background. Okay, blend it out. Put a little touch of black there. A little bit of that bright color and just dot in the corks. And sweep them out. We got that black shadow on that green bottle. I think I want a little bit of that black shadow there too. I'm going to try to lift a little more of that paint off. It's still damp. Still not showing off too well, so we'll put a little bit of brighter stuff in there too. Okay. The sign's dry now. I think I want to brighten it up a little bit too. Some more color on it. Clean that brush and dip it in a little bit of clean water I got down here. I got 2 cups. One is for cleaning the brushes, the other is for dabbing in a little bit of water to wet the brush. Helps blend those colors. I think I need a little more. I think I'm just going to mix a little water into it. There. I'll add a little signage onto it when it's drier. Let's go ahead and actually take our 1-inch brush and use that to blend it out and then back. All right. I think that'll work. And down in the corner here, there is a rope, length of twine, if you will. So I'm going to take a little Milky White, a touch of that burnt sienna, teeny touch of that yellow ochre. And it's a little brighter than I wanted, so now I'm just going to take some yellow ochre. It's still pretty bright, but we're going to have some shadows and such in here to darken it up. I think we can do that now. I'm just going to take a little bit of that burnt sienna. This is giving us kind of an orange color, but this is all lit by candlelight, so should be very warm colors. Now we're going to add some black to that. And a really deep, rich brown. Get a little of that over the top. Clean the brush. Blend that out. Take that number 0 brush again. Paint on your finger a little bit. Then go into one of these shadow colors and put in the frayed, not the phrase, but the areas of the rope. I don't know what the word is. It's not knots. Braids. We're going to go with braids. Just kind of cut those in. Ooh. Wind is picking up outside. I don't know if you could hear that, but sounds like it's storming. I remember right in this video, your traveler is coming in from a cold, damp storm, so maybe that storm is fitting. Okay. I think that's enough for the indications of the rope there, because again, it's in the background, so it shouldn't be all that clear. Okay. Now we're going to start over in this region. Over here, I think I'm going to go that 3/8" brush. That might even be a little too big. And go with a 1/8" brush. And we're going to make us, I think I might actually just use this kind of brassy color here. All right, now over in this region here, we're going to start painting in what in the real word I'm sure was a bird cage. But since we're in Maybell's world, I'm going to call it a creature cage. So we want a I don't think there's enough contrast in there. So I'm kind of looking for a dark, shadowy, brassy color. We'll try that. That's better. bars in, then we need our structural or integrity bars. And then we're going to take our 3/8 brush with that same color. Paint in the top of the cage. I'm using the soft strokes, trying to blend it out as I go. Since again, this is in the background. Back then I have the basic shape on there. I'm going to clean that brush again. Blend it out a little bit. Not too terribly much, but I think I might cut in one more beam right here and another one right here. Just to make it a little more clear as to what it is. And of course, it's a shop. Well, these things gotta have a price tag. Crimson's a little cool. Let's mix in a little yellow ochre to it. That looks like a good blend. Okay. Take your little 1/8 inch brush again. Pick one of your darker colors. I'm just going to do the little indication of some words and numbers on there. It's in the background, so again, just like in the video, it's out of focus. Little splashes of color. And go back in again with that clean, dry brush. And blend it in a little bit. Just gives you a little more variation. Okay. Now I do want to take my liner. Mix up a little bit of a brassy color again. That's probably a little too dark, so let's stop wasting our time trying to mix it with that. There we go. Yeah, a little more yellow ochre. I guess I could have just used this, it's pretty close to that, but anyway. I want to put in a few little areas on here where the light is catching it, especially now I see is that original color dried. It's again really close to the black in the background. Support bars there. And again, like that, this candlelit, it's not going to catch everything quite the same way. And it's in the background, so we want it kind of uneven. Well, no, maybe uneven isn't the word, but when it's soft, very soft focus. after you've taken most of the paint off your brush, come in and you can play with it a little bit to smooth it out some. Blend it a little better. Heck, let's go ahead and take that. Where's my number 0 brush? There you are, trying to hide from me. I'm going to take a little bit of white, yellow ochre to brighten that color a little bit. Another number 0, very gently. Gonna put in a few more little areas where the light's playing off of that brass. And those you can leave sharp if you want. You can go in and blend them out a little bit if you want. But I want to blend it out, so. And of course, need a little handle at the top of the cage. And you don't want a whole lot of detail in that. Just enough to tell the people looking at your painting know what it is. Let's go ahead. Let's do another bird cage. Creature cage, sorry. Maybe this one's a little bigger. It kind of goes over the background. Kind of overlaps with that first one, doesn't it? Maybe this one's a little brighter, so it stands out a little more. Maybe for this one, our highlights should just be a mixture. Yellow ochre and that milky white. Blend it out, of course, because it's still in the background. Very, very gently pull across if you want. Take that 0. That same color. Add a little light. Lay it on the bars. Okay. Now we gotta fill in the rest of the space back here. Oh, first things first. That one's a little more red. Gotta get a price tag on here so people know how much this cage costs. Got too much water when I was mixing that. As you can see, it almost turned it into a glaze. Flatten that. And it's also, oh, that's way too warm, too pink. It's also pretty dry, so we can mix it into that yellow color. Maybe this one's, that tag is just catching a little more light. And again, same as before. Just get in some splashes of color. Make it a little more visually interesting. I think I need to darken that a touch. And go through. Blend it out. Alrighty. Let's, I think I want to get a little more shadow up at the top of that bird cage. You can see when it starts doing that on your palette paper, that means you got too much water. Kind of keep adding paint until you get a nice even tone. All right. And again, of course, blend it in a little bit. Don't let it get too sharp. Don't let it stay too sharp, I should say. I think I even want to cut in over here. A little black between the area. I'll put that right there too. Heck, if we want, we can make it dark brown color. Add a little crimson to it as well. Why the hell not? And just in the background here, just add in some shapes and doohickeys and whatnot, just to make it a little more visually interesting. Brighten that up even a little bit more. Add some more. Who knows what it is back there, and honestly, it doesn't matter. It's not the focus of the painting. Just to keep it from being too uniform. I want it to look pretty cluttered. Maybe there's just the littlest hint of another table back here. Clean up those edges a little. Got them a little too thick. All right. Now, put on something in the corner here. And from the scene, screen grab I grabbed. Almost looks like a little feather of some sort. I'm going to add some more titanium white to that. Some sort of cloak, or who knows. Sure if it is, if it's made from any actual animal product. Sure it was sourced ethically. Maybell cares about her creatures. She's not going to let them suffer just so somebody can have a cool looking little thing. Like anybody who sells dragons and other mythical creatures is going to have to treat them right, or they'll be hellfire to pay. Now I can just get some straight titanium white. Ooh, got a little crimson in there that I didn't want. Let's try that again. There we go. Now we'll just kind of work at a few little highlights here and there. Pull it out again, give it a real feathered look. I think there might even be a few plants in the background here, so yeah, we'll use this fella. Go into that phthalo green for the first time in a while. I'm going to mix a little bit of that brilliant red. Mute it. When you mix red and green, it mutes that green down quite a bit. Then we'll darken it with some black. I think that might be a little too dark. We might need a little more phthalo. Just there we go. Who knows? Maybe these plants back here, maybe they can be used for some kind of spell. Herbs for making stuff, or maybe they're just a little place for critters to hide. Of course, if you've ever watched any of the Babblebrook Maybell videos, realize you really don't want them to hide in her shop, because I don't think she would ever find them. Unless they let her. Maybe when it was time for food, it would come out willingly. Clean that. get another clean, dry brush. And again, since these are in the background, gonna want to very gently kind of blend them out. I want it to be very soft. Don't want the I think that's the end of that brush. But as I was saying, I want them very soft. We don't want texture. I'm kind of radiating outwards from the center of where that tree is. Okay, I think those are flat enough. I think, though, it wouldn't hurt. Have something else kind of. Get a little more of that shell stuff hanging down here. For the heck of it. Maybe right there. A bit too. Go into our white again. I can hear that wind roaring outside. I'm glad I'm inside. Painting a nice little warm, cozy scene. Just me not worry about the rain and the wind I hear out there. All right, we're gonna take a short little break here. Actually, before I do that, I think I want a little more variation in that foliage. So, I'll some up. Just tap in a few little areas where it's a little brighter. Maybe those are blossoms of some sort, who knows? Then take a brush again and kind of blend it out. Very gently, of course. You don't want to pull all that paint off. You don't want to completely mix it. But you do want to soften it quite a bit. All right, I think that'll work there. Now let's... I think we need some words up here. Take that little 3/8 brush again. I mean, what's the point of having a sign of your business without telling people about your business? I'm not going too detailed here because we are going to blend a lot of that out. Take your 2-incher here. I think about 1.5 inches maybe. Gently blend. That didn't work too well with that size brush. Let's try our 1 inch. I think I blended a little too much, so. Yep. Okay. It's the same little 3-inch brush. Not 3-inch brush. 3/8-inch brush. I'll just kind of put in the fine print that way. Go in there and very gently blend. All right, I'm going to take a short break here. Of course, the magic of video editing, it won't be any time at all for you folks. I'll let what I have up here dry. I can get a better idea if I need to add any more stuff to it. And then we can go ahead and start painting in our character. See you real soon. And those guys, a little tiny splash of water. And we're going to mix up some paint now to start painting in Miss Maybell's face. What we're going to do, I'll take a little bit of that yellow ochre. Some of that burnt sienna. I'd say about 60% yellow ochre to 40% burnt sienna. And just to make sure that color matches well, we're going to start over here on our hand. And I think a little tiny touch of that brilliant red in there. Not going to hurt anything. And a little more yellow ochre. A little more red. We don't quite want, there we go. Pinkish, but I still want a little bit of that yellow color coming through as well, since it's lit by candlelight. And we're just kind of putting in the base of that flesh right now. So again, we're not worried about detail at this point, as much as we are just getting that color in. And get about as close to the median color of that flesh as you're going to use as you can. So that when you're painting in the detail, if you get any breaks in there, it's going to be harder to notice because you have the flesh tone directly underneath. And of course, clean your brush. Go go back and pull the excess paint off. And smooth it out so you don't have texture in there. Okay. I think I'm going to brighten it with a little bit of that milky white for the face. All right. I'll leave some gaps in there so that I don't lose the shape of the nose. Kind of want to have that outline in there. Let's give it a tiny little splash of water so it doesn't dry out. Got her other ear up here. Pulling this along as close to the outline of that nose as I can. Keep that shape right. Same with her glasses. And the outline of her lips. Sorry, I'm not talking much right here. I am just trying to keep this as even as I can, and it takes concentration. Almost looks like she's wearing a little mud mask of some kind. More water. Go ahead and cover up the nose bridge on the glasses because it's thin and it'll be easy to repaint back in. Over this ear. That cheek there. Okay. Into that corner. Went over the outline a little bit. That's okay. We'll fix it. And we start adding our details. Again, go over the outline of the glasses just a little bit. Go ahead and put a little bit up here. It's going to be a lot darker when we're done. That way there's a little flesh base under that color. Trying to thicken some of these areas up a little bit. And a little area that's a little more pink, just to get the shape of her lips in. It's not too different from the skin tone. It's a very subtle difference. Should be a little more pronounced again when we add the details in. But right now I'm more concerned with form and shape and details. The details will come later. I'll get a little of this color in on our fingers too. The original mix was a little too dark. To smooth out that neckline, don't I? I do have some areas up here where the paint's thicker than other areas, so go back in there with some pressure applied and try to flatten it out as much as you can. It's already pretty dry. I need to mix a little more of that, so. A little more. And just a touch there. There we go. Not too bright. I get this second layer on so it's a little more even. Go up to that nose line a little more. Keeping that brush loaded. my eyebrow line there a little bit, but that's always something we can fix later. Not too worried about it. Even that area out though. Leave that dark at the top of the eye. Let me shade from the front frames of her glasses there. Same right there. Just leave that area, little spot. Another coat on her hand over here. Okay, let's go ahead. And I'm going to really water this down some. Just over her eyes. Do a little bit of a wash. So there's some color in there. Not trying to paint that eye a completely black area. I'll get a little color in where the eyebrows are as well. Since they're sitting on top of skin, let's do a little wash over what's visible of her lips here. Son of a bee sting. I'm just trying to cover up some of these thinner areas. Pull that above the neckline a little bit too, because that shouldn't be that dark. And it won't be when we're done. All right, I'm going to leave her face alone for now. They're getting her clothes painted in. First part we're going to do is the shirt, which is a dark crimson. That might be a little too dark, so let's get a little more crimson in there. Okay. Clean most of that off. It's okay if you leave a little bit because it'll help dull our green down for the next color we need. That phthalo green and some black again. I'm going to leave a little bit of the black in between those two because there are some deeply, deeply shaded areas in there. Okay, we can add some of those shadows in on the green now. And we're just pretty much pulling the pure black, mixing it in a little bit. And clean that off. Highlight, we'll take some milky white and yellow umber to kind of get that candlelight glow effect. It's a little too bright. Do phthalo, burnt sienna. Get a little bit, almost like an olive going. First thing I'm gonna, of course, over here is blend this out. Okay. I even need a little more sienna there. A little more sienna. Just dulled it down a little bit. Over here. A little bit up in here. Then kind of blend that out into that really dark green. Work a little bit of paint in here to brighten that up a little bit. Okay. And I'll take some crimson and a little sienna and a really nice warm red. is howling up there. Go ahead. Make that dark red color even a little bit darker with the black. A little blacker still. You know what? Let's just even take a little black. So it'll blend it right on there since that paint's still kind of, there we go. Paint's still damp enough to mix it right on the canvas. All right. Take a little more of that flesh color. Let's try to even out the neck. There. Okay. Now we gotta shade some of that color. Get a little crimson. A little of that burnt sienna. Tiny little touch black. Still want that shade to be warm. Blend it out a little bit over there. I feel like it needs to be a little darker still. At least right on the edge, so. Mix some black into that. Then again, kind of pull and blend that out. There we go. I like how that looks. Might take a little more crimson though. Just along the edge here to create a little separation between the shadow and the light. Okay. And some shadow on the other side of that neck. Same kind of dark shadow color. little further out, I think. Clean the brush, soften that edge. Now we're going to make an intermediate color between the two. Because the way the light is hitting there, there's a little shadow. Spritz of water, up its spread. There's a little shadow kind of running down the middle of her neck too. Just almost like there's a candle on this side of her and a candle on this side of her. Get a little more of that dark color in there. Okay. And then we need some more of that dark shade, so I'm going to mix a little black back in there. Just for the neckline. So. And I'm just kind of using the corner of this brush. I cut that a little too, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a little more angular than I wanted it, so. Just go over it. Okay. Yeah, down a little bit further. More of that face, that peach. There's a little wash over there. Still have the shadow in there, but it's not as pronounced. And I want to come up into this corner a little bit too. In fact, I want to wash over that edge. Wash over that shadow a little bit too. I'm going to have to come back in there. Didn't like how that was looking. In fact, I think I'm going to quit while I'm ahead here. let it dry thoroughly. Come back to it tomorrow. So that's going to do for now. Part 1. We'll get to part 2 soon. And if you're painting along with me, hope you learned something. If you're just watching to relax, hope you did the trick. You folks have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, and I'll see you again real soon.